Have you ever walked into a room knowing you look amazing and suddenly felt unstoppable? Now imagine channeling that same confidence into every sales conversation, pitch, and negotiation. In today's episode, we're talking with Jessica Papineau about the surprising ways that fashion can fuel your sales success and how the right outfit can transform the way that you show up, feel, and ultimately sell. Ready to learn how to dress for the life you want instead of the life you have? Let's do it. Welcome to Superhuman Selling. Today, I have my dear friend, my stylist, Jessica Papineau here with me. She is the founder of CSJ, a leading styling company that helps women use fashion to boost their confidence and elevate their image. And as someone who has worked with you, who has been your client, I know the power of what you do. And I think there is so much alignment in a lot of the work we do within our community, which is about helping people elevate from the inside out. And then you bring this whole nother level, which is about creating an outer image that helps you step into that next level of you. So take a moment for anyone. I know so much of our community already knows you, but for anyone who's not familiar with you, maybe share a little bit more about yourself, your background, and what you do with the styling.
Well, CSJ Styling was born on February 14 of 2019. And I had been styling women for many, many years in retail and working with them to shop in a very intentional way. And I had never, it was very different, like the way that I would work with them. And then these women were like transforming before my eyes. So I worked at a boutique for about 8 years. And on the side, my side hustle was to go to these women's homes and to curate their wardrobes and pack them for trips. And I got to know them on a really deep level. And I got to see that there was so much power in elevating their confidence and really allowing who they truly authentically were to be reflected on the outside when they felt truly confident. And so I don't have the concept of what I do is very different than what you would normally think of with a fashion stylist. I mean, celebrities have fashion stylists and people think, oh, well, only certain women, of a certain status and a certain level can do this. However, I'm working with the professional woman, the high-level executive, the woman that's an entrepreneur, that really desires to be the best version of herself in every single aspect of her life. And she feels a little bit different, like in her friend group and in her family even, because she's continuously growing. She's of a growth mindset where she's ready to like fully step into her power, but she doesn't know how to align her wardrobe with that. And so I saw such a need here. And so women like yourself that are in this space, and I work with a lot of women that are keynote speakers, podcasters, thought leaders, coaches, and these women don't have time to mess around. They're like going from one thing to the next thing. And so really what I'm doing is preparing them for anything that comes their way so that they can get up every single morning and put that intentionality into starting their day right. There's so much now with like priming your days, journaling. I jump in a cold tub, work out, move your body. And so the women that I'm working with really are of this mindset of get yourself right so that you can start your day and give the best of yourself. However, my piece is once they go through all of that intentionality of how they get their mind right, how are they setting up how they're presenting themselves, how they're showing up, right?
Yeah.
Getting up in the morning and doing all these things, but then, going in your closet and putting on something that is just good enough. That's mediocrity. These are not women that are okay with mediocrity, right?
Yeah.
So what I'm helping them do is curate this wardrobe and set them up for success in their life where they can I have an app now, actually.
Just
You
so
can
fun.
you can look on your phone and literally know what you're gonna wear for that day, be set up for your trips, and it's so powerful because these women don't have to have the anxiety and the, you know, what am I gonna bring for my trip while they're trying to plan their speeches and
Mm.
how they're gonna show up. They know they're gonna show up looking and feeling beautiful,
Yeah.
and they won't be stuck in self. They'll be fully present and allowing who they are and their gifts to be shared with those that need it to make the deepest impact that they can.
And it makes such a big difference as someone who has been through this process myself. And I think many of us heard about, you may hear about like Steve Jobs and how he wore the black turtleneck every day, right?
Right.
I've got so many other things going on that I don't have the mind space right now to think about changing up my clothes.
Right.
But I think for many of us, especially as women, like
Yeah.
we want to look beautiful. We want to wear something different every day. We want to show up differently, but that mind space to think about how am I going to do that, right?
Right.
It can be consuming energy or time that you just don't have. And you shared something that I want to dive deeper into. I've got a fun question for you too, so which I want to ask in a minute, but you shared about settling for just good enough,
Yeah.
right? And so I think one of the things that I see a lot of times with women in the community, and I'm sure you see this as well, is women not feeling worthy to step into something that feels amazing, right? Where they're like, oh, maybe they're an entrepreneur, they're working from home, they're doing like the dining room table, messy bun type of thing.
Yeah.
How does that impact women's business results to not show up on the outside as that best version of themselves? What do you see happening there?
There's a couple different aspects to this. I would say number one, and I briefly mentioned this, but women get stuck in self.
Mm.
And when you're stuck in self, you can't fully serve,
Mm.
right? So I'll
Wait,
just
say that again. When you're stuck in self.
when you're stuck in self, you can't fully serve and make the deep impacts. So, okay, so let me give you a visual of what I
Please.
mean.
Yeah, I like this.
So what I notice that women do when they look in the mirror, they put something on, right? Many of the women that I work with are thinking about when they go to put their clothes on, the areas of their body that they don't like, right?
Mm.
And so then they want to cover those areas. And so what I see this happen all the time. When I first start working with a woman, I get her to put on fitted clothing. And interesting, when she puts on the fitted clothing, and I always know this is going to happen, her eye focuses in on the area or areas of her body that she's shameful of, that she
Mm.
doesn't love. And I watch it, she begins to focus there. And what you focus on, as we know, just amplifies. It gets bigger,
Right.
becomes more of that. And this is where the stuck in self is. And so, what I like to work with women, like what I like to see them do, and it's all about looking in the mirror, and instead of focusing and narrowing in on the areas that she doesn't like, I use fit and fabric to highlight the best parts of her. So with that fitted clothing, allowing it to skim her body, the best parts of her body, right? And highlight the smallest part of her waist and show the curvature of her hip, right?
Mm.
And then put the icing on the cake with the accessories, and maybe it's a blazer, whatever it may be. And what I watch her do, and I've watched women's eyes do this for years. This is what lights me up is I see her go from where the area she doesn't like, and when she sees it all put together as one whole person,
Mm.
her eyes move up and down, and then I see her lock in with her own eyes in the mirror.
Mm.
And I know that the magic is now happening.
I love
I know that she truly sees herself, not just with that all the inside work that she's done, right? And that beauty she knows she has on the inside because she's been working on it for years. She puts the intention there.
Right.
but now she actually sees it on the outside. And in doing that, she can lock in, and I'm trying not to get emotional. I don't know why I'm getting emotional.
Yeah.
She can lock in on her own eyes and see what she was truly meant for. And she believes that she's worthy of stepping into her full power. And she can walk out the door that day and just allow who she truly authentically is with all her power that God gave her, that universe gave her. She can allow it to flow through her, and her frequency and energy elevates to a level that attracts those that truly need her in their
Mm.
lives.
Wow. You have a calling for this.
Yeah.
You can
I'm getting I'm like, you're asking me the questions that just my whole body is buzzing right now
Yeah.
because I know this is what I was meant for.
Yes. And your story, Jessica's story, is extremely powerful. So we'll link all of your social and your content so people can go in. But you spoke
Uh,
at one of our events in July in Maine and shared about your own personal backstory. And it's powerful, just your own life experience and what got you here. And you can tell when you talk that this is her calling. This is your calling for what you're meant to do here as well. I want to ask you about using your wardrobe strategically to step into that next level version of you. So to me, this is so fun. And we do a lot of work with our clients on aligning belief systems with
right.
with believing what you want is possible and having thoughts that are in alignment with what you want, feelings, actions. So again, we do a lot of the inner game, but one of the things that I firmly believe is your results will never supersede your identity. And so our identity, it is a lot of how we feel on the inside, but it's also how are we presenting on the outside and how are we showing up? And I think using wardrobe as a strategic tool is so fun to kind of step into that next level version of you. So let's say somebody's listening and maybe they're currently at like 7 figures in business and they want to go to 8 figures, right? For example, what are some things that they could do to start strategically using their wardrobe to step into that next level version of them and maybe close that gap from where they are now to where they want to be?
This is interesting because as I've refined my process,
Yeah.
I actually come at it now from a very backwards way. So I used to really work on teaching women how to eliminate what's not serving them anymore because what holds us back, right, is getting stuck in past, not just stuck in self, stuck in past, because a lot of times women's wardrobes are reflecting who they once were, right?
That makes sense.
And so and the other piece of it is many women, when they're looking for their style or wanting to, step into this next level, they begin looking on the outside, exterior, social media, influencers, other people that they aspire to look like, right? And so then they buy, they'll do the click and buy,
Yeah.
order the outfit, right? It'll come in and then the whole negative talk happens, right? The comparison, the put the outfit on and look in the mirror and go, oh my gosh, it didn't look like this online. It looked different on the model. And then again, you getting stuck in self. And so what I say to women, the very first step, and actually the first step in my process is review and reflect. And it has nothing to do with clothes.
Oh, yeah.
What it has to do with is her literally taking that pause and taking that moment to herself. And I think as women, oftentimes, even as that high level woman, even as that, 7-figure entrepreneurial woman, she's been in such this success mode of thinking, what's next? What's next? What am I going to succeed at next? I want to be the best version of myself with my family and with my husband. And, what's the next thing? But taking that pause to literally close her eyes and think about, what does she desire? What does she truly, truly want? Because when you can take that moment and think about what you truly want, that really is where you're supposed to be. That's the alignment of what you were born for, right? What you were meant to step into. And when you get in that place, and this is where when I'm involved, I can like live it with her. I can like be fully in it. And I close my eyes with her. And literally, as she can tell me what it is that she truly desires, and maybe it's what she's currently doing, but maybe it's just a little more than that. There's a feeling associated with it. And when she can tell me the feeling of what it is when she is in this space and what it looks like at the surrounding area, and then what she's feeling, I can see her. I can see what she looks like. And women can hold this space by themselves and see what they look like. But then with that lens, walking into the wardrobe and extracting the pieces that align with that woman. And you know what I find when women do this exercise? They literally pick out 3 things. About 3 things. About 3 things. And you know what that tells me? That these women are operating from the outside. People are thinking, oh my gosh, they're operating at like 120%. Like she's 7 figures. She's got this family. Look at her on social media. I mean, she may be showing up authentically, but people have a perception, and she's push. She is in push mode. She's trying her best. She's tired. She wants to be the best version, so she keeps going, but she's not, she's in push. And when she can line up how she's showing up on the outside with what's happening on the inside, there's a shift. And this is, I'm moving fast forward to the last step of my process, but it's a transformation, but it's also a transcendence to next level of who she is and who she was truly meant to be. And the push is gone. It leaves her and it becomes a pull.
Wow.
And it amplifies everything that she has done up until that point.
Wow. That makes so much sense. That makes so much sense. And I know from experience, it's funny, we talk about this in our community, just when you're in that up level, all of a sudden, nothing that you used to wear feels right. But if you don't calibrate your level of self-worth, right, to another level, then you may say, oh, what are all the things we say? Like, I shouldn't spend the money on the clothes. I don't have time to elevate. So everything you're saying resonates so much. And I know you've also got stories of transformation of women who have worked with you and just leveraging clothes to step into that next level identity. Do you have any favorite stories? Or I know you've got a lot, but
I do. But one thing I wanted to touch on, the closing the gap.
Yes.
I want to talk about closing the gap and the time frame of closing
I
the
love
gap.
it because you know that I love compressing timelines.
And
Quantum leaping,
so I do a ton of market research.
Okay.
So when a woman reaches out to me for the first time, I always ask her, when did you first think about reaching out to me? And what was that process like? And this is what she says. I heard you on a podcast, or I saw you on social media, and then once I saw you in this one space, I started following you in the other spaces, and then I started watching your content. And then I'd be like up at night watching all the content. And then I would be thinking, okay, when I lose the weight, I just need to lose 10 pounds. When I lose 10 pounds, I'm going to reward myself with this.
I have this story of someone in our community who's talking about it. Keep going. Okay. No, there's so many things. There's so many things.
I'm going to, once I lose the weight, once I get the promotion up, almost there, I'm just going to push a little bit more. I'm going to like reward myself, right? I'm going to keep those jeans that are 4 sizes too small right at the front of the closet. So when I walk in, I see them, and that'll help me lose the weight. And then I'm going to reach out. And I'm like, really, this is what you're thinking? And I'll say, well, how long did it take you to reach out? 6 months to a year is the average.
Wow.
And I'll say, so did you lose 10 pounds? Did you get the promotion? Did you make it to 7 figures? Is that why you're calling me? No, that's not why I'm calling you. I'm calling you because nothing changed. And I literally am brought to my knees. I don't like my body. I don't like my closet. In fact, I hate everything.
Mm.
And I have a photo shoot in a month and I'm doing a rebrand and nothing that I wear feels good. And I don't know how I'm going to do this.
Mm.
I'm
Yeah.
totally prepared, but my wardrobe isn't.
Yeah.
And so it's just so interesting and it makes me feel sad for her, but also excited for her.
Right.
But the sadness for her is it didn't have to be this way.
It didn't have to pick that bar. Yeah.
So I wanted to share that because what happens typically when she first starts working with me and we dive in, we go deep really quickly.
Right.
And once we can uncover who she truly desires to be and we begin to align her wardrobe that way, the power in it is it's like mind-blowing. After about 2 weeks to 3 weeks, those jeans that were like slightly too tight that I sold her are beginning to feel loose.
Mm.
And I'm like, "What is happening? Are you on a diet?" Like,
Yeah.
and she'll say, "No, nothing's changed." And I'll say, "Well, nothing's changed with the amount of food I'm intaking." And I'll say, "Well, what has changed in your life?" And you know what she'll say? She'll say, "Well, first of all, if she's in a relationship, she's having so much sex." And I'll say, "Well, what like, tell me more about this." And she'll say, like, it's not so much like my husband wanted me before I did this, but now I, like, feel super sexy." Like, I'll hear people say things like, "I had on that really tight-fitting outfit that I told you I couldn't wear, and I wore it because you told me to, and then I was walking down the street, and I caught myself in my reflection when I was walking by the doors of this place." And I thought, "Who is that woman? She's hot." And then I got home that night and I'm like, my husband just looks at me and he's like, "You wanna go?"
I will say I hired you and then I got pregnant. It's a thing. She comes with a warning.
It's a thing. And then the gap. Okay, then we talk about the gap
Yes.
of where you wanna go, right? And then what begins happening is the way she shows up at work or at a conference or whatever, people start to see her. She's revealed. She's showing herself. Her level of frequency is so high that people are attracted to her.
Mm.
This woman reaches out to me. Her name's Amanda. And Amanda reaches out to me and she says, and she had just had a baby. She was postpartum by about 6 months. And this was shortly after the pandemic. And so she had been hired during the pandemic working for this IT company. And she was at a mid-level position, managing a team of about 20 and men and women. And she had been from the waist up dressing like, decently, but on the bottom, no. And she had had the baby, wasn't feeling great about herself, wasn't feeling great about her body, and was going to be seeing these people for the first time in person for a
Mm.
team meeting where she was going to be seeing the vice president, president of the company, and her team in person for the first time. Wheeled in 2 racks of clothes. This is in Sarasota, Florida. I do work with people virtually, as you know, as well. Wheel two things of clothes into her house. The whole thing starts. She looks at the jeans. She goes, "I am never gonna fit into those jeans. It's just not happening."
Mm.
Puts the jeans on. Initially, her body language is kinda, like, hunched over, like, she looks uncomfortable, but she just needs to get this done. She just needs the outfits. Fast forward, get her the outfits. We have her planned from day to night for every event that they have going on. She walks in the hotel room. Sorry, and walks into the hotel, and all eyes are on her. The vice president of the company was there checking in, walks up to her and says, "Hi, you must be with the group. What position are you in? I don't recognize you."
Mm.
And she goes, "Oh my gosh, I didn't recognize you, and you look like you could own this company."
Mm.
So
I
the
love
whole she said she felt amazing. Every event, everything they had, the conference, the team meetings they had, she said the president and the vice president wanted her at their table,
Mm.
and they were asking her questions the whole time, like, "What do you think about, what we should do in the company and whatever?" And I know we're getting close to the end here, but at the end of the conference, the vice president came back up to her again, and she said, "When you get back to Sarasota, I need to put a time on the books for us to connect." I realized after this weekend that you are so in alignment with the rebrand that we're going through.
Oh, wow.
And we need to talk about your position because we need you forward facing in front of our clients.
Mm.
You captivate a room, and the way that you show up has just blown me out of the water.
Yeah. Look at that. Yeah. Well, because everything has a frequency to it, right? Everything has a vibration. And so if you wanna elevate yourself, you've gotta elevate your environment, and the
Yeah.
clothes you put on your body have a frequency, they have a vibration. So I know you've got tons of stories. Well, I know we've got members of our community when you were talking
Yeah.
earlier, about releasing weight, where I've spoken with women where they literally say that thing where they're like, I wasn't gonna do this. I wasn't gonna invest in myself until I had released the weight. But then they decided to, and then suddenly the clothes aren't fitting anymore. So I've
Yeah.
heard that firsthand. And so I think one of the biggest takeaways for me here is noticing, where are you putting off your up level? Where are you putting off your elevation? It's like sometimes people come to us and they come to us, they want to elevate their business, but they'll say, I need to clarify my model first. I need to make more money first. They're like,
Right.
that's what we do. Why are you thinking that you need to get that part figured out first? So
Yeah.
s- owning your self-worth enough to say, I am worthy of investing in now. I am worthy of looking like the 7-figure, the 8-figure, whatever your goal is, version of me now. So
Yeah.
I love all of this so much. I have a fun question for you as we wrap. If you had to wear one outfit every day for the rest of your life, which would probably be your worst nightmare, what would it
That
be?
is my worst nightmare, Elise. I mean, from the time I was 4 years old, I would change my outfit 4 times in a day. I have 3 outfits to wear today. I can't believe you're asking me this. I would say my go-to
Mm.
outfit. So my default, like, if we all have those days where we're just, like, not feeling it,
Yeah.
but I always say, "Get up, suit up, and show up every single day." You still need to do it. It's all about action, like, taking that action. It would be a pair of great fitting jeans, definitely high rise.
Mm. Always.
And I would say a blouse. Like, it's actually, like, kind of what I'm wearing right now,
Yeah.
because I did have a moment even this morning. I put on a dress, initially today, and I was like, "No, I'm gonna wear what makes me feel really good," and it's always a pair of jeans
Mhm.
and a blouse,
Yeah.
heels, and earrings and a necklace. If I don't have at least earrings on, I feel naked.
I love you.
I love
Thank you
you.
for being here.
Thank
Share a little bit
you.
about, if people wanna connect more with you, how they can get in touch. I know you've got your app and such a
We
beautiful community you've built
do.
online, so share a little bit more about that.
We do. So, all these years, I've learned that I really, with my clients, I want to go deeper.
Yeah.
And so I work with about 15 one-on-one clients at a time, where we take that deep dive and really work together to go through the 4 steps of my process. We have the wardrobe app, which you have, and I can kind of dive deeper into that on a freestyling call, which I would love to offer.
Totally. Yeah.
Would love to offer your audience, to really kind of meet them where they are, kind of learn a little bit about where they would like to go, not only in their life, in their wardrobe, and really talk about how I can meet them where they are, and we can put a plan together. Now, people can work with me one-on-one, and they have access to me at all times. We do a lot of coaching, as well as styling, as you can probably imagine by, hearing everything we talked about today. But we also we have 2 apps, actually. One is a styling community and membership, where the community of women can collaborate, It can be a very lonely place to be someone who is pouring into others all the time. And I truly believe when you get women together that are um, of a growth mindset, that have expansive thinking, that desire to see other women lift up in the world and achieve amazing things. I think the best place to do that is together with a curated group of women. So we now have that
Mm.
on in our
Mhm.
community, which is in our styling app, CSJ
Yeah,
styling app. So I would love to offer a free styling call so I can dive deeper into
absolutely.
this with whoever desires to.
You're never ready. This is one of the biggest things I've learned. You're never ready for your next level, so you'd have to just claim it. So thank you so much. I think one of the biggest things I'm taking away today is just investing in yourself is one of the most selfless things you can do so that you can show up in full service to everyone around you. And so I so appreciate you. I love you.
I love
We'll link
it.
everything in the show notes for people to connect with you further as well. And to you, my listener, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for listening to our conversation today. I highly encourage you connect with Jessica as well as myself online. We'll link all our social. And then if you'd like to connect with my team, we're here to help support you in your quantum leap in sales, business, and life. So you can go to elisearcher.com/free call, get connected for a free call with my team. And I want you to remember to trust yourself on your path for success. Your desires are green lights, and they are leading you and everyone around you to a brighter future.